All right, what is up, YouTube? We're playing some board games today. Today we're playing a game against Patron Gamerdad. We have the white pieces. Here we go. Playing 15 minutes plus a 10-second increment. Unrated, just for the hell of it. E4, knight f6, Petrov defense. Or Alekhine's defense, I think. Yeah, that's what it says. Petrov is different. That's a little bit of a... I feel like I should just be able to tickle that knight a little bit in the future. I don't want to trade. I think I just want to get this bishop out and then maybe get it outside the pawn chain. All right, I don't even need to really worry about it. Let's just play d4. Already starting, yeah. When's the part where you can start eating the chess pieces? I think that depends on the rules of your chess club. All right, e6, sure. Now I think we can start harassing this knight. Yeah, let's just play bishop d3. Can't really be easily defended. I think this just loses a piece, right? There's probably some complication with like queen h5. I don't think there's anything wrong with c3 here, though. So black has two pieces hanging, and it's going to be hard for them to save both of them. Okay. Yeah, so now we're just up. We have two pieces for two pawns. So that should be more than enough. Knight c6 attacks d4. I think we can conveniently defend that queen g4. Now we're on g7 as well. d5. Do I care about d5? I don't think I care about d5. Let's just play queen take. Well, queen takes g7. Knight takes d4. I don't think that matters. Then we're on the rook at the end. I think life is good here. Let's just play queen takes g7. When did the chess pieces start smashing each other? I think that's wizard's chess. It would be cool though if there was like a version of chess.com where like there was a cutscene every time a piece captured another one. Yeah, so we're on the rook here. Not many good ways to defend it. You can either probably play either rook f8 or king e7. That's a bold choice. I guess we'll just take the rook. You have to be a little conscious of... Okay, well. This, I think, still works. So now, king moves, we're on the queen, and if f6, then we just take with the bishop, and nothing changes. So we'll win the queen there. Oh, is there a checkmate here? Maybe. Not that I see. It can't get much better than this though, chasing the king up the board. All right, so what can we do? Knight b5. I was thinking bishop b5, but I didn't see a path forward after just c6 or knight takes b5. What's the quickest way to win here? I think queen e8. Well, queen e8, then bishop d7. And we haven't really achieved anything. Let's just get the rook to c8 or to c1. Black's all tied up in knots here, right? Like the bishop can't move because the rook hangs. And next turn, anywhere we move the knight comes with check. I think even like knight a4 is a mate threat here, right? Yeah, I think knight a4 is checkmate unless black does something about it. I don't think that does something about... it does. It gives b7 as a square. Sure. But now king b7, then queen takes c7. Yeah, and this was slated to take like half an hour. So if this game ends early, then we can play another one if Gamer Dad still wants to. Yeah. And then knight a6 and knight c5 is checkmate. Yeah. Oh, can I not pre-move? I think I should. I made this new account. I don't think I can pre-move. I need to turn that on in the settings. Cool. Gamer Dad, if you're in the chat, how do you feel about another one? I guess we can look back at this game later. I'll just send the rematch request now, and if you don't want to, then that's fine. Good game, though. Okay, now we have the black pieces. See where we go. E4, best by test. Knight c3. Oh, let me see if I can change my pre-move settings mid-game. Yeah, I want to do that. Enable pre-moves. Yeah, great. Cool. Okay, knight a4. I don't think I mind that too much. Game needs more QTEs. I mean, I don't like playing bullet, but some players do, and that's kind of like a game with QTEs. Okay. I don't really see any knockout blow here. Like queen a4, queen a5 check just gets met with bishop d2, queen f6, bishop e3, and then we don't really have anything better than trading. Yeah, I could just I like knight f6. You get X minutes to play in bullet. You get 1 minute to play in bullet. I do not like that. Especially when I'm streaming. Like, I like talking while I'm playing, and that makes things take longer. So that's why I picked the time control that has the increment. H4. Okay. Not super concerned. Probably like bishop g5 is coming. H6 might just be a useful move. We can also just play like knight g4 ourselves, gang up on this f2 point. And then if bishop e3 to defend, we're also on that twice. See, black or white probably needs to do something pretty uncomfortable in that spot, like, I don't know, like knight h3 or something. Sure, let's go for it. And we have a convenient way to pile up as well. If there is some defensive move, then we can follow up with more pressure with queen f6. Oh shit, that just hangs the knight. Never mind. Maybe we get away with it. Yeah, that makes sense. Now we gotta defend g7. Just gave the piece right back. Despite that, the position isn't like terrible for us. Knight f3. How do we feel about knight e5? Knight takes e5, queen takes f2. I don't think that gets anywhere. Like, knight e5, knight takes e5, queen takes f2, king e1, or king d1, then what? We just don't have enough pieces in the attack. What about knight d4? I don't know. I think h6 is an important move to play here, actually. Just mildly concerned about something like bishop g5. Well, that hangs the rook. Yeah, not really much to think about there, I don't think. The other like QTE chess, I remember when I was in like high school or something, there was something called Kung Fu chess, and each of your pieces had its own cooldown. So both players played at the same time. You just could only move each piece a certain amount per second or whatever. I wasn't a fan of that, but I thought it was cool. All right. Can we pile up? If I play. Eh. So I see F2 is hanging. I don't feel like that's a super important pawn. I want to like capitalize on White's king being out of position. If I play bishop b5, then king d1 is kind of forced. And then I can follow up with bishop a6. I do need to be a little wary because the queen is still on g7. So my queen still has a job. Mm. I also just like bank the material, but that seems kind of lame. Maybe it's actually knight b5, b4, trying to pile up on c2. Let's start here. I'm not sure exactly where we go next. But the only move, well, I want to say the only move that makes sense is king d1 because anything else drops the bishop. But I do still have this nagging issue. Maybe I just need to castle. Because letting the queen in here seems kind of insane. Yeah, king d1 makes sense. There's so many things that like almost work here. I guess like my original thought might still be good. Like if I play bishop a6 here or bishop a3, then what? Like how does white defend this piece? I guess like queen f4. I kind of like it because even in that case, it forces a bunch of trades and we're up a rook. Oh yeah, why is c2 to c3 bad? Yeah, because we just take it. Queen definitely acting like a queen. Like look at how annoying this piece is for white. Are there any other ways to defend that piece? The only way I see is queen f4. Does running for it work? No. Okay, well, let's just checkmate. Okay. Cool. We're still before the 130 mark, so I guess let's try to fit one more in. Again, if you want to, Gamer Dead, don't feel like you have to. And then after this one, we'll probably just go over the 3 games and see, and just review them. See if we missed anything. Castling if queen moves f4? I don't think so. I think if queen f4, then I just take. And then we trade a bunch of pieces. We're up a rook, and we'll win that endgame. Ooh. Is this a thing? Feels like some sort of gambit opening, but I'm going to take it. It might be, though, that Cecil castling is just best. But practically, I think I would just trade down and win the end game. Okay. It is some sort of gambit. Yeah, whatever. I don't like my knight blocking my pawn, but we are up a pawn. The only thing we need to do is get out of this opening. E5, sure. Yeah, knight f3. Put pressure on the pawn. Yeah, I was gonna say if knight c6, then we can trade and take the pawn as well. F6 does weaken this diagonal. I don't think there's anything we can do about that yet, but we should keep in mind they don't work yet. But keep in mind tactics like knight takes e5, pawn takes e5, queen h4 check. They do actually almost work, but I think I'll just castle for now because bishop coming back to c4, putting pressure on this f7 square. It is a little tender. And black's king, even if it castles, can't really expect to be safe on g8. They'll need to invest another tempo getting it over to h8. So I think we're just up a clean pawn. I don't think black has anything to show for it. Knight h6. So we're castled. Black is still a couple moves away from castling. I think we're supposed to blow up the center here and start attacking. Black's idea here might be to play f5. I think we're pretty open to that if it happens. See a bunch of you guys in the decked out chat room. If you guys want to play, like these games are unrated. There's nothing on the line. We're just playing for fun. Knight c6. Okay, so I do really like the idea of d5, like shutting down this bishop. It'll just be biting on a rock. Other things that come to mind, bishop takes h6, and these pawns are pretty ugly over here. We can also just win a pawn, right? Like bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I don't think there's anything super clever to do here. So now, yeah. So black is in some serious trouble now. Like down 2 pawns, but more importantly, like queen f3 is coming. It's going to be really hard to get this king to safety. Like f4 is an idea. Like bishop takes bishop takes h6 is an idea. Actually, also queen h5 is an idea. Queen h5 is crushing, right? Queen h5, g6. And at the very least, we can take the knight on h6. Yeah. So let's do that. Let's get our knight out of danger and then follow up with queen h5. I guess in that case, with the knight not around anymore, like king f8 is still technically a legal move, but it's not going to feel good to play it. Yeah. So we have a pretty good plan of like piling up on these weakened c pawns. That gives us the opportunity to get our bishop into the game for mostly free. Can also play rook e1, threaten the fork by, with e5. I don't really see a good follow-up after bishop g5, queen f7. And our queen is kind of annoyingly low on squares. So I think it's actually queen g5 off of this trade. We're ahead in material, and one of the general principles in chess for people who are newer is that if you are ahead in material, it's a good idea to trade, to make equal trades, because if you have a material advantage, that material advantage is bigger the fewer the pieces are on the board. Oh, this almost works. Yeah, all right, fine. Now I think I want to get f4 in. And we have a threat, right? e5 here attacks both the bishop and the rook. So they can't allow that. Bishop c5 is a thing. I don't think we're too worried about it. I guess it does mean that we're not actually threatening e5 anymore. e5, bishop c5, and we have to play king h1, and then they get their rook out of trouble. But I still think f4 is probably fine. Just take more space. Yeah, so how's it going? Rook b8. That's a little annoying. Means my bishop is tied down to defending this pawn. All right, fine. b3. I want to get this bishop out. The computer will probably have some sort of tactical line here that wins another piece, but I don't see any reason to complicate things. There's a choice for the bishop icon. What do you mean? This is how bishops look in online chess, right? Oh, that will lose a piece, though, because now bishop c5 check isn't an option. The fluttering bottom. It's his flowing robes. What's my rank? It's hard to say. On chess.com on my normal account, it's like anywhere between 16 and 1800. It depends on how many games I've needed to like resign halfway through because I needed to go do something else, but somewhere in that area. No formal like US Chess Federation or FIDE or any kind of that rating. The sliced hat for the bishop. What? Oh. Does that work? I don't think that works. Like, I think I know what you're talking about. I can't really articulate what the piece is, but I think I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like a circular top with just like a gash, like almost like a medieval knight's helmet. Yeah, let's pile on. Oh, this thing. Oh, in the yeah, exactly this over here in the algebraic notation. Not sure how well that shows up on your guys' stream actually. Okay, bishop d8 is played. Let's just keep attacking. Pile up on f8. Shows up good for you? Okay, cool. I think if you really want to get Nerd Girl out here, then you need to like offer Settlers of Catan or Teamfight Tactics or something like that. StarCraft 2 is free to download? I don't know whether I'm surprised by that or not. Like, the game came out ages ago, but, like... I never played it. For some reason you thought this was happening tomorrow. Usually the Patron Commander games are on Sundays. Okay. Double check. So can't take the knight. No good way to bring the rook in and save the knight. Fine. Knights are really good in front of isolated pawns, just as a general rule, because there's no black pawn that can attack him. So this knight just is going to be there for the rest of the game if I want it to be. Could also just take the bishop, I suppose. Just let them take the knight. That's still an option. I think I'm going to do it. Not because I particularly care about the bishop, but because it opens up my other rook getting in the game. Okay. Getting somewhere. I think this forces checkmate. I think rook b8 is unstoppable. Yeah. Cool. Good games, gamer dad. Let's go back and look at the 3 games we played. To see what, if anything, we missed. Yeah, let's look at this first one. Who cares?
You got a nice tactical. This is the most.
No, do not talk to me. Cool. E4, knight f6, e5, knight e4. Yeah, knight e4 is an unusual move. The book move is what? Not like a huge, not hugely into the Alkine's defense. Knight d5 is a move. Apparently, like knight g8. Yeah, I feel like knight d5 is the only reasonable move here. Like knight g8 just sort of admits that the first move was bad. So knight e4, and this knight is just kind of overextended, right? We're going to be able to attack it and develop. Play d4. It's apparently the best move. e6 is best. And now bishop d3 is on the knight. And what happens next? Bishop. Yeah, bishop b4 just loses the piece. Instead, it wanted to play d5. So d5 defends the knight. What happens if I take? Oh, and then they just, I think, yeah, then you have to bring back the knight. And black is probably okay here. Yeah, that makes sense. So what's best for white if d5? It likes knight h3. This is apparently best. A weird opening. What's wrong with knight f3? I guess maybe it like just blocks the f3 square. f3 is fine. Also likes knight e2, which is also fair. Like challenges this knight. Black now has to do something about this. Okay. But we didn't have d5. We had bishop b4 and c3, and now both pieces are under attack. Black has one move to get both of these pieces out of danger, and there's just not really a way to do that. So, yeah, knight takes f2 is like an interesting try. It's like if knight takes f2, if we... Yeah, if we follow up here, then this is not good, right? Yeah, this is all of a sudden losing, actually, because... Yeah, the knight f1, knight takes f1, sure. I was wondering though what happens if like the queen comes in. It still says white can defend. This feels real scary. Yeah, this is just a huge mess. But instead, yeah, king takes f2, and everything is just kind of chill. We're still up a piece. So it was knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes c3, and then knight takes. And yeah, from here it's just sort of piling up on a bunch of weaknesses. Yeah, not really much to look at here. Just march black's king up the board, and eventually checkmate just happens. That was game 1. Game 2, we hung a piece, so that wasn't great. e4, c5, knight c3, e6, and this is the first out-of-book move. Generally, like putting your knight on the side of the board. There's two things wrong with this move, really. First of all, you don't want to move the same piece twice in the opening. You want to get all your pieces into the game. And second, the knight on the side of the board. So, like, imagine a knight here. If you have a knight here, then it attacks these 8 squares. But this knight only has access to 4. So a knight on the side of the board is just, like, making the piece worse. Okay. Unless you have, like, a specific idea. Here, I think the idea was to go after the pawn, and we just didn't see that the bishop was defending it. So we play knight c6, and white swings the bat all the way around, and then we're just up a piece. And then eventually, yeah, here I was like getting a little bit too clever. I'm like, we can pile up on f2, not realizing, obviously, the queen just covers that square. White finds it, and we follow up with queen f6, which it doesn't think is best. Computer likes castling substantially more. So what's wrong with queen f6? It says white can play queen f3 and is effectively... Yeah, I mean, white is just actually actively up a pawn in this position, so queen f3 kind of forces black to consider a queen trade, and we don't want to because we're down material. Sure. So knight f3, h6. So h6 is because I was getting a little bit concerned about something like bishop g5, and all of a sudden my queen can't retreat along this diagonal. These squares are all covered, and like I would have to go to g6. I don't like my queen getting kicked around like that. But it does say that you can just get away with playing d5. So d5, what happens if white follows through? This feels scary. Like, I feel like there's a lot of pieces around my king, and moving my queen away is not a pleasant prospect, but I guess the computer says it's fine. But we didn't do that. We played h6 like a coward. Here's b3, and b3 just hangs the rook. King d2. Follow up with the check. The computer likes that one. And then, yeah, so we follow up with bishop a3, which I didn't see all the way to the end, but it does put white in an uncomfortable bind. Bishop e2. Yeah, here we go. It just blunders. Queen takes c1 mate. But I was wondering what would happen if white ran away. And then, is there a way for black to like bring the queen over? It does say that that's best. And then queen takes g7, and then what's the follow-up? Just queen takes c2. Yeah. I guess there's no way white's ever getting out of these checks. We can save the rook whenever we want. Okay. But that's not what happened. Instead, it was the bishop blocked the king's escape and then checkmate it. Cool. And the most recent game. Cool. So we were white, e4, and b5, which chess.com already says is a mistake. Sometimes you do give up a pawn in the opening to gain some time in development. So, like, I was thinking that when I take this, black has made room for their bishop, and in the future will get a useful move kicking my bishop around, and I'll have to move it twice. But it just didn't work out that way. Bishop b7 makes sense. We just kind of develop our pieces. e5. Knight f3, hitting e5 apparently is best. f6 defends, but it doesn't like it. It says a6 is better. This is what I was talking about with the gambit earlier, like having a useful move that forces my bishop to move. Bishop a4, and then what? Still need to do something to defend this pawn. Now it likes knight c6. But what happens if knight c6, bishop takes knight, bishop takes, and then just knight takes, right? Huh. It does work. It does win a pawn, but it actually says a d4 was better. Just forget about grabbing the pawn. You have a lot more. You just want to open lines to the black king because it's just trapped here. It can't get out. Interesting. So we just castled. Knight h6, another knight on the side of the board. But where else is it going to go realistically? We find d4, and then knight takes e6. And this is kind of the beginning of the end. It says this was a miss. It likes bishop takes h6 first. Why? Bishop takes h6. It doesn't even say it's a. Oh, g takes h6. Yeah, sure. I thought it wasn't saying to do that. And then knight takes e5 is there. Look at that. Knight sacrifice. King e7. If f takes e5, then queen h5 check. King e7. And queen takes e5. Yeah. And then, the walls just come tumbling down. Cool. Knight takes c6. Yeah, so here I was just like trying to bank another piece. It says it doesn't like g6. I guess like king f8. Oh, knight f7 actually. I didn't see the backwards move of the knight. That makes some sense. But we still follow up with f4 like we eventually did in the game. Yeah. And there's just not much here. Like, white's just up a rook. Cool. All right. Well, good games, gamer night. Thank you very much for playing. And I think let's hop into some ladder games for now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to play chess before switching to something else, but sounds like a little bit of fun. Let's... 15 plus 10 is a lot. I wish there was like something like 10 plus 5 or something. Maybe there is. Yeah, there is. 10 plus 5. Let's do that. Oh, we're playing unrated. Oh well. Sicilian Defense is a very tactically complicated opening, and I don't know enough theory to justify playing it. But neither does anyone else at my level, so I feel like it's still kind of fine to play. Bishop b5, huh? I feel like playing bishop b5 before I play knight c6 is not quite right. Because now I play a6, and what are you doing? Can't play bishop a4. Bishop a4, b5, bishop b3, c5, and the bishop's trapped. So he's got to go back home. Probably has to go all the way back to e2, because if bishop c4, then still b5. And he has to go back further. Bishop d3 blocks the d-pawn. Yeah, he finds it. Okay, so a minor win. We were able to get this useful move in. It's not like we're way ahead or anything, but that was a nice, tiny victory. I think I want to get knight f6 in, and I want to try to push d5 if possible. Now might be the chance. Yeah, let's do it. Now, do I want to take with the knight or do I want to take with the pawn? It's hard to turn down this nice pawn center. I'll stick with the pawn. Can't think of a reason to do one or the other. Like, the real question is just, do I want an extra set of knights on the board or not? I think I do. We have a space advantage, so having more pieces around is like a little tiny bit better. But obviously it's not some huge deal. Now what happens if d5? d5, knight a4, b4, b5. b6 is covered, c4 is covered. Yeah, so the knight's just trapped in that case. So d5, knight e4. And I don't really think I have a good follow-up. Okay. Let's just get castled. Pretty even game. Black is probably a little bit better with this pawn center. White plays d4 first. So taking feels out of the question. Yeah, can't take. Can we allow white to take? If white takes, then we're going to end up with an isolated d-pawn. Isolated meaning that it doesn't have any of its own color pawns on either side to support it. It does feel like, yeah, I can't turn down c4 here. I just look at these pawns coming down the board. Also, this knight being on c3 means that this pawn might be a little bit difficult for white to defend if we can pile up on it. Like knight c6, queen b6. Matty Cake, thank you for gifting a sub. Congratulations to Empty Calories with an elite name. Matty Cakes, I think you and Schultz are living a little large watching the stream. How's it going? Living medium. Can't remember. There was some game where you could burn a simple disc to play online in some RTS game. I remember on the I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't been keeping up, but I remember people would use copies of Phantasy Star Online to play online on the GameCube, which was kind of cool. People were playing Super Smash Bros. Melee online back in the days before emulators doing that. Rookie one, sure. Yeah, let's just play Knight D6. There are some ideas of like Queen C7, Knight G5, pile up on H2. There's probably going to be a fight over this only open file in the position. We can also just start launching our pawns up the board. Oh, wow. Okay. B3. That's such a weakening move. Well, B5, I guess. And now these are juicy holes for for us to take advantage of. All right, A4. I don't know that we care too much. Bishop B5 comes to mind, but then like Bishop D2, and then what? Yeah, let's get on this file. I mean, this is really tempting, right? Bishop takes, rook B2, queen D6, hitting the rook. And then these dark square weaknesses. If white doesn't have a dark square bishop anymore, I feel like that's going to be bad news for them. I think let's start with queen D6. Because rook B2, rook A2, and then what? Like, do we just trade? That seems kind of lame. But now rook A2, we can play knight B4. I guess maybe queen B6 could have been good. Pile up on the D2 pawn, or the D4 pawn. Still don't know what we're threatening there. Maybe just threatening queen B4. Rook a2, even still. And then what happens if queen b5? That's uncomfortable, right? Now the knight only has one square. But then queen d2 and... yeah, I'm not seeing any, like, knockout blow here. White's on the ropes, but... I think we start here. I think we're fine with that. We can pile up on c2 a little bit. This gives us the option to get the knight trade in, which seems awesome. They have to trade here. Actually, do I want to do that? Just looking at knight takes e1 first. Just take it. And then pawn takes knight, bishop takes pawn. And we're looking pretty good. Hey, red shirt. How long have I been playing chess? I've been playing since I was a kid, but like never super seriously or anything. Yeah, let's take with the bishop, keep these pawns nice and strong. We have a protected passed pawn now that white needs to keep an eye on. We're also just up a pawn. Decked out chess tournament today. I would love to have a decked out chess tournament set up at some point, but probably need to put a little more planning into it than that. We just had people signing up in the Discord to play some friendly games. Ranger 5, played for a bit and came back. Yeah, I used to play with my dad. Eventually, he stopped wanting to play with me, but he taught me to play. And I did a few chess clubs in school, some scholastic tournaments, but kind of stopped after elementary school. Play online, watch some content every now and then. Actually, I watch some content pretty much every day. It's like the only thing I reliably watch. Gotta watch the back rank here a little bit. If ever this rook leaves, and I guess this knight leaves, then the rook coming down to e8 is a checkmate threat. So that's just threatening to trade. Can we be clever? I don't think so. let's just swing back. And then if they trade, then all of a sudden we have a place for our king to go. And these pawns are doubled, but it kind of is like promoting the H-pawn. Bringing it into the middle of the board gives it a little more influence than it had on the side of the board. And I think here we're just trying to nurse this one pawn advantage. This knight has no good forward moves. They're all covered by our pawns. These pawns are isolated and weak. That's one thing we can try to take advantage of. If we win this pawn, then all of a sudden these two pawns are going to be really hard to stop. You can also think about playing things like rook b3. Now I can really think about playing things like rook b3. Yeah, I don't really see what queen f3 is threatening. We are on d5 enough. I'm going to play it. Let's just pile up on the pinned knight. Oh, actually, that doesn't work. Yeah, that's annoying. I was thinking knight takes, and then rook takes queen, but then the knight's on our queen, so we'll just have to trade in that case. It's not so bad, but... yeah, it's not so bad, but it's not ideal. That was a mistake. Yeah. It's only a mistake if my opponent plays well. Well, they did find it. I gotta be a little concerned about back rank issues. Yeah, let's just retreat. I hate it, but I think that's what's necessary. So material's even. Still think we're a little better here. That's probably just a dead draw. Hate it. Yeah. 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 Shit. Okay. Then just play fast. We're just down 2 bonds now. This is hopeless. Yeah, I wonder where this went wrong. I don't think there's any way to. Maybe. Really? We're totally lost here. The only question is, can we sneak something out? And I don't think we can. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you got it. Good game. That sucks. I feel like we were definitely. I feel like we were definitely ahead there. All right, we'll try another one. I guess that was a rated game. It just, because I made this new account, we're provisionally rated. So there's nothing to show here. Queenie won? Queenie won, then what? Queenie won. Like Queenie won, Queen F3, then. I mean, I guess we're on this pawn. Sure. Okay. Maybe, yeah. I mean, then black wins the F7 pawn. Pretty sure we're lost. I guess we can take a look. while we're waiting for someone to accept the challenge. Yeah, I'm just totally losing. He likes queen d5 here. Yeah, I mean, just being down 3 points there is too much. This is one of the things about playing the non-default time controls on chess.com. If people aren't playing it, then you're going to have a hard time. Like, you're going to have a long queue time. All right. Let's just play 10 minutes. No increment. I'm ready to be hurt again. All right, let's do it. Feeling this guy wants to jump in with knight g5 and put some pressure on f2. Do need to take some time out to care for our b5 bishop. Maybe we just trade. Actually, I kind of really like trading here. Wrapping decked out in the next Pog Champs? I would love to. Don't really want to play h3. What happens if I play d4? Mostly good things, I think. Question is, who's my coach? Who would I want as my coach? I feel like content-wise, it's got to be Hikaru. You know what? I'd want John Bartholomew. I think I would love to get to spend some time talking to him. I watch enough of his content that I feel like I have that unhealthy parasocial relationship. Ouch. Little danger here. Now the knight's pinned. Oh, Amon? Yeah. I would like that. That can't work. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of like the Chess Bras content, but I do enjoy watching Amon specifically. So the problem is, like, now the threat is queenside castles and pin the knight to the queen this way. They don't know what to do about that. Probably like bishop e3. Breaks the pin. Threatens discoveries on the queen. Does mean that the rook has nowhere to retreat to. I don't think they can take advantage of that right away. This is scary, but we are up a good bit of material. Can we liquidate? Not really. The problem is that, like, any move with the knight means they take the queen with check. Maybe I have to play queen e2. Get out of the pin. I have to remember there's no increment. You gotta play a little faster. I feel like that can't be good. It feels like it lets me off the hook. Yeah, I wish John Bartholomew made more content. I do love Chess Network as well. What is this? I feel like our opponent played a little too fast this game. Like, I definitely felt like I was under a good bit of pressure, and there were ways to take advantage of my position. But now there's just not enough material left on the board. Like, we're way too far ahead. I saw Carlsen lost again, like today or yesterday. He's been having a kind of a rough go. I wonder what's up. Yeah, now they're thinking, but I have a feeling it's too late. He dipped out. He stopped defending his world championship, but he's been playing classical this month at some tournament. I forget which. I don't think he thought it was boring as much as he thought it was way too much work to defend a world championship specifically. It's better to play queen e6. Might be a little. Queen e6 allows their rook to get active at the end, though. Let's just trade rooks. I will have the active rook, sir. And that's that. Cool. 3 more rapid games. All right, well, I guess that gives us a good target to get to end the chess segment. Let's just get to our rating and see what we end up with. Maybe I was a little soft to knight d4 there, forking the queen and bishop. Probably had queen d3. Oh, no. You could that's an illegal move. Knight's pinned. That's how chess works. Yeah, so if they want the bishop, then they can have it. Actually, if he takes the bishop, I think do I flick in queen c6 check first? Doesn't take the bishop. Okay. What are you playing at? I mean, now we're just on this pawn, right? Oh shit, is my queen trapped? I don't think so. At the very least, we have this. And this. And now I think black's in serious trouble. Yeah, just take the knight. And we're just up a piece and some pawns. Okay, and now it's all coming tumbling down. Yeah, sure. Just got to get these pieces out somehow. Just trying to think of the best way to do it. I think knight c3 first makes sense. Just locks their knight out of... Oh. Oops. Yeah, that was dumb. Probably should have moved the rook. Okay. Still way ahead. Still doing just fine. Can I take this knight first? I think I do, actually. And now we can take the knight. So it's a little messy, but we have a pretty large material advantage. Sure. And this is just cleanup. Cool. All right, well, pretty large punt, but not enough to punish us. 2 games away. What flag is that? Never seen that. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Open Sicilian. I always feel uncomfortable playing knight f6 here. I think it is the correct move, though. Because then, like, e5, and I feel a little pushed around. Let's just play quietly. Does this... I think this gets us the knight for bishop exchange. Because we can follow up with e5 here. Yeah, and now we can take it. I'm not even sure we want to. Because, like, bishop h4 looks... Well, I guess bishop h4 just white castles, and who cares? Yeah, let's just make the trade. And now we can come into g5. So, small victory. We have the two bishops. I play d5. d5, e takes, and then at the end of the day, they're on e5. But if they take, then I have rook e8, pinning the queen to the king. Let's do it. I think I have to play bishop f6. Oh, no, I don't. I can just take. Do I want to take? Takes queen h5. I move the bishop, then checkmate on h7. I have to move to h6. I feel like that should still work. Oh, no, I can't. It doesn't work that way. Then I have queen g5. I'm just going to play bishop f6. Maybe we can win that pawn, but I think that's hard. I think that gives white a lot of counterplay. Now I think we're okay. Now I think we can take it. Because if queen h5 here, I can play queen g5 and force a queen trade. Well, then they end up with pressure on h7. So I think it's first e4. I don't see a reason not to put in a6. Can I even, like, just keep steamrolling? Like, d4? Well, then they take. Alright. Let's do it. Whoa. Ooh, clever. Tricky. Doesn't feel... I mean, everything feels like it's hanging by a thread over there. Can't do that. Damn. Good find by the opponent. Threaten checkmate with queen b6. Then they take the bishop, right? Yeah, don't bother backseating. Like, I don't want to actually get the move suggestions, but particularly because this is provisional. But welcome to the channel, everyone. I definitely want to look back at this one, though. Your move is to flip the board and scream in Chinese. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. We're just down a pawn. And worse. Yeah, this is awful. We're in so much trouble. Shit. Yeah, the problem is that bishop b3 here is just really good. Moving the pawn means rook gets all the way over to h5, and we have troubles on the h-file. And I think here we might actually just have to sack the exchange. We can try this. If I win, you had everything to do with it, and if I lose, you had nothing to do with it. Fair enough. Yeah. And now we're just kind of in a similar spot on the h-file. Can't take any trades here, unfortunately. Okay, well, that gives us a little life. I was worried about a rook coming to the 7th rank. Now we can maybe get our own rook on the 7th rank. The path to victory is probably via moving fast now, but they have 8 minutes. It's just so hard to stir up anything. Maybe we've done it. Maybe we've pulled off a draw here. Or even a win. Like, we are ahead. Yeah. Wow. We did not deserve to win that game. Let's see. What the hell happened? All right. Okay. Likes d5 right away here. By like a decent margin. I guess that makes sense. Like, one habit I need to get into doing a little better is like when I'm playing the Sicilian and I can get in d5, I probably just should. My instinct is to get the knight out early. It was queen a5, protect the pawn. Let's look at that when we get there. Oh, and all of a sudden this is book again. So we've like transposed somehow into another opening, or into a book version again. Bishop e3. So that was a significant miss. It says e5 was better. What happens if e5? We just played, yeah, like knight d5. e5 is the move I was a little worried about when I played knight f6. But this doesn't seem so bad to me. It's not like the computer says it's a huge advantage or anything. Castle. The position's like just about even. Queen d2 says we're ahead again. Knight g4. It wants... It says knight g4 is fine. It says e5 was even better. Why is that? And now we get d5. Okay, so it's just like e5 is generic controlling the center move, maybe. It's bishop f4. And now e5. And then just retreats. So what did it want to do? Yeah, it wanted to play back to g3. I mean, what I had in mind here was like bishop g5 or bishop h4. And that felt strong, but maybe it's a paper tiger. Like, what happens if bishop g5? Still likes it. Queen e2. We kind of kick him around a little bit, but I guess there's just, at the end of the day, nothing there if white defends. Okay. So we liquidate, we take our knight for bishop advantage, and then we start kicking white around, and it didn't like d5 at all here. I preferred f5. Well, what's wrong with d5? Plays e takes d, sure. C takes d, and this seems okay. h4. It preferred bishop h6, and I was torn here for a little while on what to do. I was worried that this bishop would be out of play. And I have to be a little worried about moves like g4, g5, trapping it. But I guess there I play like g6 and fink out of the bishop. Okay. Castle's queenside, e4, bishop takes b5, and a6. It doesn't like a6. It says bishop takes e4 was best. So what's... It says it likes bishop takes c3 here, which makes a ton of sense. Now b takes c3 and these pawns are ruined. I didn't even consider that. But yeah, that's like obviously a pretty good positional advantage there. Play a6. We're still decently ahead. And I assume bishop takes c3 is still best here. But instead, yeah, this was awful. And it felt awful like pretty soon after I played it. Because now we have this pin on the d file that we need to worry about. And also, white can just like take. And we're in deep trouble. So like as bad as knight takes e4 felt, rook takes d5 was just there. And that's pretty nasty. And now we're coming up, Redshirt, to where you were going to suggest a move. So let me know around what move number you were thinking. Bishop g5 check. King b1 here. So you wanted to play, well, queen a5 wasn't a move, so... Yeah, it's around this area. Do you know what move number you're talking about? So queen h5 and like h6 feels like the only move here. Knight takes. We can't take with the pawn. If we take with the pawn, we're getting mated. So queen takes is forced. Queen takes, pawn takes. So like you were suggesting queen a5. Maybe you mean queen a4? Oh, queen a5. Ah, I see. Yeah. Instead of the rook move. Instead of rook b8. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. Queen a5 here. Although the engine doesn't even suggest it. What is it? So we play queen a5, we get killed because we hang the bishop. And we can't... Like, if knight takes bishop, we want to play queen takes a4, and it does still look like that's best, but then... Oh, wow, I was going to say, like, but then we have this problem on h7, but it's actually even worse, because queen d3 is here, and we are really desperately fucked at this point. Yeah, g6 is the only move to even stay in the game, and then knight takes h7. Yeah. Although it's not like rook b8 was any good either. It says it likes bishop f5 more. Yeah, I didn't even consider queen a5 because I was so hellbent on protecting this piece. But it's not crazy to want to trade down. It's just, look, we have this problem on the h file, which is like something I called out when I'm like, can I safely take this pawn? I think it gives white a lot of counterplay. I'm like, whatever, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, it isn't the consequences of my own actions. So now queen h5, h6, and yeah, like now we kind of just have to liquidate here. And there's just like not really a good option, right? If we play f6 like I did in the game, then they follow up with pressure on this diagonal. But if I play g4, then just rook h5, and what are we doing? Like they're threatening checkmate. We have to move one of these pawns. Yeah, f5. Oh man, and if we move the f pawn, if we move the g pawn, then we lose the rook, right? Somehow. Yeah, rook h8, and then king g7's forced, and then first get the king off of protecting the rook, and then the rook hangs. So we can't move the g pawn. And if we move the f pawn, then this diagonal opens up, and like we have to give up the rook for the bishop, and we're still not in very good shape after that. So that's pretty brutal. So I play f6. They play the what I thought was the best follow-up, but it turns out it's not. Computer likes bishop c6 here. But this is the move I was worried about, and I was considering, like, do I even just have to sack the rook for the bishop here? Instead, we end up trading. It doesn't like capturing with the rook, which makes some sense. I think like getting the pawn into the center of the board and keeping the rook on this open file makes sense. But it wanted me to trade. That seems insane to me. That seems bonkers. Trading rooks in this position. I wanted to keep material on the board because I felt like we were pretty far behind. I get a rook on the 7th rank, and all of a sudden, like, white's advantage is kind of evaporated here. Not that we're any good at keeping it that way. King c1, pressure on the rook. Get our king into the game. Wanted us to play rook e2 here. Yeah, I was thinking about this after I made this move. I was like, maybe if they do this, then I can get both rooks on the 7th, and we're probably in okay shape, but it actually says that, no, you're still screwed if you do this. Rook c5. Yeah, and white just controls the base points. Well, what happens if I take? Takes f2, rook takes f2. And I guess we just lose the resulting race. They have these 3 passed pawns. We have 3 passed pawns of our own, but they're doubled. Okay. a4 no good. And now I think we need to, like, maintain this pawn. And this started to feel okay, right? Like, when white curls up into this ball, I felt like, yeah, you don't want to defend from behind, right? I thought putting the rook here would make more sense. Keeping the rook active. And now, like, that rook is just kind of trapped if he doesn't want to give up the b-pawn. Doesn't like g5. Why don't you like g5? What's wrong with g5? Because king f3. And now the rook... Well... Yeah, rook g3, and then what? Now king f2. What's the point? d1. I guess the point now is that the king has successfully gotten to defend this pawn, and my rook is a little out of play. Like, there's no way to get... I don't know. But they didn't play it. We just keep making mistakes back and forth, and b3 did feel pretty bad. I think it was like my rook has cut off from the defense of the a-pawn, so they thought that was the time to strike. But they also started playing really fast, I think, trying to time me out. And they threw away, like, most of their advantage here. And now the computer says it's just a dead draw, which I think I said at the time. And now, boom, like, this just hangs the rook, because rook c6, or rook c3 check, back off the king, and this is just over from here. We have plenty of time to do the checkmate from here. Cool. Tricky game. It looks like we managed to get our rating, though. Let's see. Did we? I thought it said we had one more game till we weren't provisional anymore. But no, we have a rating now. 924 rapid. But I think it said one more. Let's play one more. And then we'll move on to a different game. Okay. We have the white pieces. Again. I think most of these games we've had white. I think we played a Ruy Lopez in almost all of them. Yeah, thanks, Pancakes. We did not deserve to win that game, but I will absolutely take it. Bishop g4. I feel like this is very similar to what just happened. So I brought the queen out here, and it got me in a little bit of trouble. So now probably knight here wins the bishop pair. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I have to resign this game. I will be back. All right, yeah, sorry about that. Sucks that I had to resign a professional game, but it looks like the ham got into a little bit of trouble. He snuck out, stole the car. Okay, that sucks that I had to resign this. It really does. But I think that's where we'll leave the chess game for now. Maybe we'll play